So, my last autism video discussing autism representation in Japanese video games, y'all wanted me to talk about autism representation in the Fire Emblem series next. Funnily enough, as an autistic person, Fire Emblem is actually a pretty big hyperfixation of mine. It's actually been one of my favorite gaming series since I played Awakening back on the 3DS in 2013, which I actually still own to this day. Funnily enough, Fire Emblem actually seems to be a pretty common hyperfixation for people on the autism spectrum too, since I've seen a lot of discussion about this online as well, with many other people saying they are autistic and also really enjoy the Fire Emblem series. I personally do think there are two reasons for this in particular. One being the fact that Fire Emblem is a strategy RPG, and a lot of people like myself sort of like that cognitive puzzle aspect of it, which is basically just like chess. Since in a lot of ways, that's really what Fire Emblem is, just chess. Another aspect, I think, is that Fire Emblem does have a lot of great autistic coded characters in it. And I wanted to discuss some of those today that I didn't get into in the last video. But before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. And also share this video with a friend that you think may like it as well. Also, if you'd like, you can check out my Twitch. Currently, we're streaming the Kingdom Hearts series over there. But as a matter of fact, once I finish those games, I'll be starting on the Fire Emblem series. So if you want to hang out over there, you can definitely do that as well. We're currently pushing for partner over there so I can set up an autism awareness stream team. So definitely aid out in that cause if you can, for sure. Comment below also what your favorite Fire Emblem character is, because I'm honestly curious, especially from other autistic folks like myself. But anyway, on to today's video. So the first character I want to discuss is Luthier from Fire Emblem Gaiden, or here in America, Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. The thing about Fire Emblem Gaiden is that it was initially released only for the Super Famicom in the 90s and was later localized in North America with a full-on remake for the 3DS called Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. Luthier is a character that was actually featured in the original game, but here he has much more personality and we can actually kind of learn more about him given this game's high production value and incredible voice acting and English dub. And great presentation overall. This is easily my favorite Fire Emblem game, by the way. I even went to get the special edition when it came out back in the day. Luthier is actually seen as an autistic character by a lot of people since he's very studious and definitely hyperfixates on studying magic. He is the descendant of a mage disciple, so he really throws himself into his work here to try and live up to those expectations. The interesting thing about him though, which makes me feel like he is autistic, is that he's definitely very socially inept compared to most of the other cast here in this game. Shadows of Valentia has a very strong cast overall, but Luthier really stands out since he's incredibly socially awkward, and often is very open about his flaws and insecurities that he has. There are a few other characters that I think are also really open about their insecurities, which is really cool to see in a game like this. If you would like to see a video on me just diving into Fire Emblem Echoes in particular, like the psychology of it, let me know down below. The next character I'd like to discuss is Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening. This was a surprising one to see suggested it in the comments of the last video, but upon looking at it, I do kind of see why. I can sort of see why Frederick could be seen as autistic coded by people, given the fact he has a very strong sense of loyalty and he never backs down from Chrome's side at all throughout the entire game. And he also can come off as rather stoic and sort of unsociable too, I feel like, especially when you first meet him in the game. Personally, I don't really see Frederick as autistic coded at all myself, but I can actually see how this can be a headcanon for someone. And I'm really glad for those who do see parts of themselves in him and are able to relate to that. That's honestly the beauty of autistic coded characters overall, in my opinion, is that they're able to appeal to a wide variety of the spectrum in a lot of ways. Even though I, being on a particular part of the spectrum, may not really see myself in Frederick, someone else totally could, and that's really cool. That is absolutely the beauty of having a wide array of autistic coded characters in a franchise like this. The next one I wanted to discuss was Linhardt from Fire Emblem Three Houses, who is actually one of my all-time favorites. Linhardt is incredibly blunt and just speaks whatever is on his mind at any given moment, and it's so funny to watch throughout the entirety of this game. He is easily one of the best autistic coded characters this series has to offer, in my opinion. While his constant discussion of how he doesn't want to be around people and how he really hates having to be in a group of fighters and warriors overall can be irritating to some perhaps, I personally think it is pretty funny, and I just love how blunt he is about it so often. Your average neurotypical person would not talk like this, and it's so awesome to see him just be so open about it. And obviously very funny too. If you haven't played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're new to this series. This and Awakening are easily the two best entry points to this franchise as a whole, in my opinion. The next character that was suggested is actually Bernadetta, who is also from Fire Emblem Three Houses. This one is an interesting one because I actually don't really view her as autistic coded, but I do view Bernadetta as a great example of overcoming trauma and past abuse. For those unaware, Bernadetta is constantly abused by her father in this game, and you learn more about her backstory and why she is the way she is as she opens up to you about it. Her father both abused her physically and verbally, but also abused anyone that she came into contact with, specifically commoners or those he viewed unworthy. There's one story they discuss in the game where Bernadetta explains that she became friends with a commoner boy at one point, but then found that same boy half beaten to death and mangled the following day. And this has led her to be very fearful of associating with anyone at all. So while I don't really view her as an autistic coded character, I do view her as a really great look at trauma and what that does to someone and how to overcome that. She is easily one of the best examples of that in a video game, and it's really cool to see that they tackle that here. Again, if you haven't played this game, definitely do so. The last character that was suggested was Ferdinand von Ager, which, admittedly, I'm not really sure if he's autistic coded either. I can see where people may get that idea from, given the fact he does speak without contractions. I guess for me, I kind of view that more as just his noble upbringing, not so much a byproduct of being autistic. It could totally be interpreted either way though. I will say, one possible autistic coded trait that I do actually see in Ferdinand is his sort of obliviousness and unawareness when talking to others, and also when people are insulting him. Funnily enough, there are many times when Linhardt is actually just straight up insulting Ferdinand, but he doesn't even notice at all. It just goes right over his head. So that part I actually do see as an autistic coded trait, even if I don't really view Ferdinand as an autistic coded character overall. But once again, that's sort of the beauty of autistic coded characters in general. People from all over different areas of the spectrum can find something that they see in themselves in these characters, and that's what makes Fire Emblem such a great franchise too. Like I said at the start of this video, there are so many other neurodivergent people who love Fire Emblem. It honestly is a great franchise for uniting all sorts of different autistic people together, and it's really cool to see that. I hope we continue to see more game franchises like this that embrace that aspect and help unite neurodivergent people like myself together. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a like anyway. If you want to check out all my socials down below, you can see all those down there. And if you want to join my Discord too, where you can communicate with me and others offline, that should be linked down below. And if you want to check out my Letterboxd, that is linked down below as well. That's where I review movies, oftentimes movies or shows I won't review here on YouTube. So you can check that out too if you want extra content from me. But for now, I've been Noah the Otter, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye!